Evening, councillors. It is 5:45 p.m. I will open the General Committee meeting of Monday the 13th of April. In accordance with the Local Government Act of 1993, Cowra Council is live streaming this meeting and will upload a recording to Council's website. By speaking at this meeting, you agree to being recorded and having that recording published in the public domain. Please ensure that when you speak at council meetings you are respectful to others and use appropriate language at all times. Cowra Council accepts no liability for any defamatory or offensive remarks or gestures made during the course of this meeting. We acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we gather, the Wiradjuri people, and pay our respects to elders past, present and emerging. I have an apology from Councillor Speechley, and everyone else is here. Can I move someone that we accept that apology? Councillor Watt, Councillor Horton, thank you. Councillor Watt, Councillor Horton. Anyone else wish to comment? Councillor Watt, write a reply. All those in favour? Thank you. 1.4, councillors and staff, please indicate in relation to any interest you need to declare. A, what report or item you are declaring an interest in, whether the interest is pecuniary or non-pecuniary, and what is the nature of that interest. No declarations, thank you. We have no presentations tonight. I'll now take a motion to confirm the minutes of the General Committee meeting held on the 9th of March 2026. Okay. Councillor Downing. Councillor Kiss, thank you. Councillor Downing. Councillor Kiss. Anyone else wish to comment? Councillor Downing, write a reply. Pass, thank you. All those in favour? 3.1, information from the Director of Infrastructure and Operations on the West Cowra Stormwater Progress Report. I'll hand over to the Director.
You need a motion?
Do I need a motion to... Do I have a motion that we accept that update?
I'll move that.
Thank you, Councillor Fagan. Councillor Kiss, thank you. Councillor Fagan.
I'll leave it to the Director to discuss. Thank you.
Councillor Kiss. Anyone else wish to comment? Write a reply, Councillor Fagan. Not required. I'll put the motion. All those in favour?
I think we'll have discussion before we move the motion, if that's okay. I'm moving it for discussion.
Right. Okay. Director.
Through the chair, in the simplest way possible, the report provides a further update on the continuing modelling that's being carried out on the West Cowra Channel floodplain area, and it specifically talks to the current upgrade from the previous design standards, Australian Rainfall and Runoff 1987, to the current standards, Australian Rainfall and Runoff 2019, and provides updated flow rates and inundation mapping according to the newer standards. The report, in summary, at the end of it, has the further plan of action going forward over the next couple of months, and the intention is to keep providing councillors with progress reports on the project.
So, Councillor Fagan.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you, Director Dirk, for your very comprehensive and interesting report. Just a question, if I could, about, I know that we've had some activities along Young Road and up Rankin Street and along, I was just wondering if that has nothing to do with this. There has been some digging going on, quite a lot of digging, and I thought it was this, but it's obviously not. We haven't done any digging yet. Is that what I'm understanding?
No, there's, through the chaps, there's no digging done as part of the West Cowra floodplain as yet, but there was some water main works done at the intersection of Young Road and Fishburn Street.
Yeah, yeah, and
that area.
Boundary Road.
Boundary Road,
yeah,
yep.
That's it.
Yep.
And was that anything to do with the Rankin Street sewerage? We haven't started that either, have we?
No, the Rankin Street sewerage was basically stage one of the West Cowra storage project, but we haven't. Council's awaiting a further report from myself on that.
That's okay. There was just some digging going on. I thought it might have been this bit of this, but it's not, and that's okay because we've got a lot going on over there. But this makes sense to me, and I'm sure the councillors that went on your little tour this afternoon have a lot more to ask you. They probably already have asked you lots of questions, so I'm fine with that. And thank you for your report.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to comment? Councillor Kiss, I think you were second.
Not necessary, thank you.
I'm sorry I couldn't go on the tour this afternoon, but I got a better offer from the dentist. Wasn't much fun. Councillor Watt.
You don't get a gold star at the dentist? Shocking. I miss Juan when he used to give gold stars. One question to the director, if I may, if he can explain to us what a flood board is and how they work.
Well, the flood board is basically a way of stopping the flood water, say, entering a doorway, or that'd be the small scale sort of flood board. If you had a support on either side and put the board in the slot, then that'd stop the water come, or give you an extra, whatever the height of the board is before the water came into the house. On a bigger scale, that might use the same sort of idea to divert water from one area to another.
And so I was a bit unsure in there was a comment there about us purchasing something. Is that the suggestion, we would purchase flood boards or that we would purchase something else? We as in main council.
Off the top of my head, I can't recall recommending to purchase anything, but
I do need your microphone on, please, Councillor.
Sorry, I wasn't sure if it meant purchasing land or purchasing flood boards.
there was a confidential report with the resolution, which was remained confidential while I was doing a bit of negotiation. That was where council resolved to purchase some land.
Yeah, I think it was the section that, yeah, that makes sense. I think just the alternate options for properties with overflooding, flood builds to protect the property. I just wasn't sure whether that was like we would suggest that to constituents that they do that to protect themselves, or if it's what we're saying is a lower cost option of as opposed to the significant detention basin.
The second, because of the capital cost of the detention basin and the poor cost benefit ratio, we'd be looking at other solutions that council would implement, how to flood-proof properties using flood boards, etc. But where we're at the moment is we don't have a constituted, that's not a word, floodplain management committee. And usually those sort of options would go through the floodplain management committee, and those options to consider lower cost, higher benefit outcomes would be discussed. And because the committee's there, and that includes members of the SES, etc., it allows the flood planning to reflect the fact that if you've got a flood board, you still might have to evacuate people from the property.
Thank you. Anybody else ask any questions of the Director? Councillor Wright.
Yeah, no, I thank the Director for the report and also for the on-site visit we had today off Walker Street. Highlights the challenges with planning. It was an existing farm, that area, and there's been houses built along different areas, and the drains that were there were probably used when there wasn't houses there, and now with more development you get more runoff, and we have this problem in severe weather events of water accumulating at this northern end and where it can go to when it gets to Grenfell Road. It what was suggested today looks a bit more feasible, and due to pipelines being put in and so forth, it's just how we control the water coming to the southern end of what was the old olive site, and how we can move it from then on, and how we manage the water up in the big retention basin behind the furniture factory, which will hold a lot of water, but you don't want to have to let it go too quick all at once to cause more problems downstream. It was highlighted today that we can get a flood event in this West Cowra drainage system without there being a weather event causing a flood in the Lachlan River, just from the runoff of the development we got there. And so it is a bit of the whole area is a bit of a problem area for drainage. With we haven't implemented curb and guttering and so forth as we develop that land. It is. I will note that it wasn't until 2013 that the West Cowra precinct was actually listed and rezoned into residential and lifestyle residential land. It was all 1A land up until then, under the LEP, but so we had a bit of catching up to do there. No, I congratulate the staff. It's a very difficult situation because it's the runoff is very flat to the southern end of the olive grove, and then it takes off in a bit of a hurry, and we got to control it from there. But I'm quite happy with what progress they're making. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to comment?
If I could just clarify, Councillor Watt's question, because that related to page 18, where the what I've quoted there is options from the floodplain manual, and it's not particularly clear because we talk about floodboards, and it probably should have a comma and or potential property purchase, because one way of reducing floodplain risk for a property in the middle of the floodplain is to purchase it, voluntary purchase, or etc.
Anybody else wish to comment? Yes, Councillor Wright.
You mentioned cost-benefit ratio, and that's generally associated with what money we spend and what the benefit's going to be after that, but it doesn't really give any benefit to council to spend money, because if we don't spend money, we haven't got to get a cost-benefit ratio and we can let the disaster go on. Am I right in thinking that?
The identified benefits of the work that's on page 18 of the report as well. The identified benefits are reduced flood damages of the detention basin, and there is a methodology prescribed in the floodplain development manual which works out the benefit flowing from that work to properties not having overflow or inundation or not getting flooded because of the work. So that they have established a methodology to come up with a benefit cost ratio, and as previously reported, it's quite low for this detention basin part of the project. High capital cost, lower benefit.
Second question is, we did have a West Cowra committee for the flood basin. Was that still on the books, or has that been closed? I think Councillor Walsh had a lot to do with it.
From my search of the records, Councillor, it hasn't been active for many years, whilst various options are under investigation as per this report.
Thank you. Councillor Fagan, right of reply.
Thank you. Thank you, Director, for answering the questions. We have got quite a lot of way to go, but we have budgeted this in the next financial year. Is that correct? But I know there's another report. We'll have to do a few more reports before we make any decisions. So that will come back to us before we spend the money that we've budgeted. Some of the money.
It's unlikely that the money in the funds allocated in the current long-term financial plan will cover the cost of the 900 pipeline and the land acquisition, and council will get a further report regarding that to get it into the budget, including what are the funding options.
Great. So there's a timeline on this, and what would that look like, do you think, as far as where we're going? Before the next flood, maybe?
Yeah. Look, we're in the hands of the consultant floodplain modellers at the moment, but I'll endeavour to give you a time frame for the next stage. Yes.
Great. Thank you. Thanks very much.
Thank you. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. 4.1 DA application number 10.2026.4.1 lot 167 DP 1162233 being 2 Hillside Terrace, Cowra, a 6-lot subdivision and construction of 2 dual occupancy and 4 semi-detached dwellings lodged by A. Robson. The property owner is Southern Rural Holdings Proprietary Limited. Councillor Kiss. Councillor Wright, thank you. Councillor Kiss.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is quite an interesting DA. It's looking to subdivide a property, 2 Hillside Terrace, into 6 lots in order to create 8 dwellings. I did have just a couple of questions through the chair, if you don't mind. I noticed on recommendation 3 that it says 2 dual occupancies and 4 semi-detached dwellings. That's on recommendation number 3. I was on the understanding that 2 of them were dual occupancies, 1 was semi-detached and the other 2 were single dwellings. Is that correct? Or am I wrong on the terminology? Sorry.
Through the chair, there's 6 dwellings that are considered to be attached. So essentially dual occupancy developments, and 2 semis. So you've got dwellings A and B that are attached, dwellings E and F and G and H, and dwellings C and D are separate, but they're basically detached dual occupancy developments, for want of a better word, on the one block initially, and then they'll be subdivided into 2 separate blocks.
Thank you. I was just making sure that the wording is correct, because I've noticed that like G and H are semi-detached, so they're on their own properties, whereas like F and E and A and B are on one property. So when it says 4 semi-detached, and I'm thinking, does that, and 2 dual occupancies, whereas C and D to me don't appear to be semi-detached because there's a gap. I'm on page 52. Sorry, I'm just trying to clarify the terminology. So C and D, are they semi-detached even though they're not technically connected?
I would actually count them as detached. That's a correction that we'll have to make before the report to council.
Thank you.
Yep. I would be counting the other 3 dwellings A, B, E, F and G and H as dual occupancy developments.
Okay.
Right. Or for your semi-detached, because they're not fully detached. They've only got partial walls, which are the dividing walls. The other 2 I would count as 2 standalone dwellings.
Beautiful. Thank you. That actually helps me a lot, because I thought I had it under control, and then I and I only just noticed that this afternoon, so my apologies not getting that to you earlier. Look, there was only one other question. I actually think this is a really quite exciting development, and I'm really pleased with the way it's been laid out. I don't see there being problems in a whole of there being a reduction in the distance between the properties. I'm quite happy with that. I did just have one concern, and I do notice that it says that the proposed setback does still meet the National Construction Code, but I'm looking at the distance between dwelling D and the boundary line between it and C. It's been reduced to 50 centimetres, where it's normally meant to be 90 centimetres. So the question is, are they going to have a fence? Like, what happens if they need to do maintenance and C sticks up a fence?
Through the chair, you can actually build right, according to the National Construction Code, for dwellings, as long as there's no openings along that wall, you can build right up to the boundary. You could have the external wall of a house actually forming part of your dividing boundary between the two.
Wow, all right. Well, that's quite incredible. Here I was thinking, what happens if they want to inspect it or do something else? But quite clearly, they'd actually have to go onto next door's property or... Anyway, all right. Well, that being the case, look, I'm very excited about this. I think it's a good use of the land up there. As I keep saying, I'm coming around to the fact that not everybody needs a big property with a big block of land. These will be suitable for so many of our residents. And I can only commend the owner for putting this forward in its current design. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Wright.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you to Councillor Kiss for asking the questions. As I'm lost with it, I second the motion to get some debate, and I support the concept, but like in dot point 2, to allow a side setback of 50 millimetres, well, that's 2 inches from the boundary, I presume. Is that, I don't know if that's right, to do like...
I was going to bring that up. It's actually inconsistent throughout the report. Yeah.
Well, but, yeah. And I thought dual occupancy is where you have one building with 2 places joined together on the one block, and a 4 semi-detached dwelling is you have 4 dwellings joined together on one block. But that's not right, is it? Not like those things in the middle of Newtown and all that, where you've got a row of terraces. It's semi-detached is not a terrace house, is it?
Through the chair, it could be. Semi-detached, it's where part of the building is joined together. Where you can have a detached dual occupancy development, and that's where you've got multiple dwellings on one block. But
Yeah.
what we can do is revise the report and provide further clarification.
It's good, because when I did look at the map, and for some reason, I suppose they highlight the one they were talking about, another 3 around it or whatever, 5 or 6. It was sort of joining at corners and so forth. It was just, it's sort of going back to preschool days where you're building something with Lego. But if a few clarifications can come to us before the council meeting, I'd be more happier to support this. I'm not going to not support it. It's just get my head around all the plans and the way the buildings touch each other and so forth. Thank you.
Councillor Watt, you had your hand up next, I think.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through the chair, if I can just clarify, there is an error in the recommendation and it should read 50 centimetres instead of 50 millimetres. Do you want to do that on the mic?
Yes, that's correct.
Fantastic.
We'll get that changed.
Great. That makes a lot more sense and makes it a pretty different situation than 5 centimetres. Can I just clarify 2 things? The area to the south of this development will remain unoccupied because it's a detention basin or a drainage area. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Fantastic. Which will obviously add to a bit of the ambience. If you're looking into quite a few of the dwellings, have some pieces that look onto something that will remain open and won't end up being someone else's wall. And can I clarify that each of the areas meet the standard of open private space outside, and how that works with a semi-detached dwelling? Is it shared space? Does it come together to add up together, or are they individually shared? Noting that I think the marking on A and B has 3.02. I think that's just clarifying that they meet that 3 metre minimum. Sorry, did that make sense?
Can I take it on notice and get
Yeah,
back to you?
yeah. So just to clarify, what I'm just seeking to check, particularly with A and B, is that the private open space and the boundaries meet requirements, because I can see they've all got those two open areas backing onto each other. Thanks.
Councillor Horton.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thanks everyone for your contribution so far. I agree. I think this is a clever use of the space you have available, but I'd suggest there's a little bit of tidy up to do, largely from the proponent, of course. There are a couple of mentions of 50 mil, and then we jump back to 500 mil, so that's a significant variation. But if you look on page 90 as well, we've got lots 1 and 2 have areas of 3 metres square. Lot 3 is 0 metres square. Lot 4 is PLQFOXGL. So there's some tidy up that needs to happen there. Like I said, I'm supportive. I think it's a creative use of the space, and I think, and I've said before, and I'll say again, I think wherever we can support variations in the housing stock available, we have, that's got to be seen as a good thing. And I had one other. I think there was one other thing I wasn't sure of. If I can just clarify. Sorry. Bear with me a sec. No, I can't find it. I won't hold you up, but I just think there's some tidy up there. But I'm excited at the prospect. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to comment? Right, a reply, Councillor Kiss.
I don't think one's needed. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Passed. Thank you very much. 5.1 is the late reports, which you should all have a copy of it. These are the questions that councillors have requested information on. They are listed here. So if I could have someone move that they be accepted. Councillor Watt and Kiss, thank you. Councillor Watt?
No comment needed.
Councillor Kiss?
Not needed, thank you.
Right, a reply. Any other comments? Right, a reply, Councillor Watt.
Not necessary, thank you.
I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Pass, thank you. There are no notice of motions. Are there any motions of an urgent matter without notice? There not being any, there are no confidential matters. I'll declare that the meeting has concluded at 6:15.